So I'm just going to really rip through this and just highlight just a couple things. We're going through some changes in both in our curriculum within our program as well as at the university level. And one of the things is that we're going to be introducing a capstone experience. Now, for me, that means two things. Number one, evaluative, and number two, integrative. And so as I started to talk to people around the campus who were using ePortfolio, I started to think about how I could implement that in both an evaluative as well as an integrative context. And that's what I'm doing this semester. I'm piloting sort of this project that I'll be taking back to my colleagues in communication as a possible template for the capstone experiences within the emphasis areas that we have. The class I'm doing this in is called Technologies of Mass Communication, and I, in essence, take a sort of philosophical approach to the uses of technology, media technologies in everyday life, and I draw heavily from cultural studies, political economy, psychology, and so forth. And so by the time the students come out, they've got a much better understanding of theory and application to practice and in their own daily lives. And so that's the class that I'm sort of piloting this capstone experience as. So I'm doing these two things, and what I have the students doing is, one of the neat things about the ePortfolio platform is you can have them do multiple presentations. So one of the presentations they're going to be doing is for assessment. And my colleagues in media studies have chosen to have 12 learning outcomes. So they're going to have to create 12 pages in their assessment ePortfolio, and I've already created a rubric which they will attach, and I've also got some reflection prompts designed for them to deal with each of the 12 items that we have in our rubric. So that's sort of an assessment side, and the neat thing about that is that also gets to sort of the reflection part as well, the evaluation part. The reflection prompts are designed to see what they've thought about their academic careers, their internship experiences, and so forth. And hopefully they'll be authentic. The second thing I'm doing to integrate is I'm going to be creating an online journal. I just want to show you this sample. I don't know if all of you are familiar with Calameo or not, but what I'm doing is all the students are going to be creating a piece. We have students in journalism and students in media production. So they're going to be either writing a feature-length journalistic essay, a photojournalism essay, or a traditional term paper, or producing a video piece based upon topics related to technologies of mass communication. And then I'm creating the template in Illustrator. I'll be creating a multimedia PDF, and then there's a service called Calameo, which will take it and post it online for you free of charge. And the sample I'm showing you is just from this organization that I belong to, but it's interactive. So we can embed, I'm trying to find one right here real quick. We can embed video, and it streams directly from there. And so this is where we're coming from the integrative side. So we have students in production, students in journalism who will be integrating and working together to create this multimedia PDF that will be hosted on this Calameo service. So that's the other part of the integration that I'm working on. And then what I'm doing also, did I do that right? Okay. What do I do here now? I don't like this. Got it. Got it. Then the other thing I'm doing is I'm giving the students an opportunity to create a second presentation in ePortfolio, and I'm calling that their multimedia resume. This is a chance for them to, again, integrate the things that they've had towards the careers they're choosing. One of the first things I did is I knew that it was going to be debatable, but I had the university photographer set up times with them so they've got headshots. Now, I come from a performance background, and portraits are a part of portfolios. Now, I realize in the human resources world that's a sort of a no-no. It can get you into big trouble. But it was interesting to hear the students debate about whether they wanted to have pictures in their multimedia resumes. I would assume, since they're all from the Facebook, Twitter generation, they don't care anything about privacy. But that wasn't the case. There were some interesting conversations we had about that. The second thing I did is I brought in our campus resources, our people from career services, to talk about constructing a resume. Now, they were upfront with me saying, we haven't done anything at all with online or electronic resumes, which is why I did some additional research into that area. But they were wonderful in terms of setting up component parts of a resume, what they might look like, and so forth. And so that was a nice starting point. And actually, I got 2 emails after that session from the students. Well, they copied me, but they were sent to the career services people saying, wow, I wish I'd known this when I was a freshman, which of course they did know about, but haven't been there. So, that was nice. I view resumes as a personal artifact. What happened? Oh, sorry about that. I screwed up. I'm sorry. And I teach technology. I view resumes first and foremost as a personal artifact. Okay, they're very much you invest your. Okay, I can go without it. It's a personal artifact, and so it's very, very, very personal. But let me find my notes so I can talk off of this. But it's also a marketing tool. And so as I've talked with the students and as I continue to talk with them about it, they are trying to market themselves. Okay? And so that's the neat thing about the ePortfolio platform, especially for my discipline, because our students have produced multimedia. And by multimedia, I mean they've produced text, they produce images that are both still and moving, they've produced sound, they've produced for a variety of different disciplines and formats, whether it be in high definition, whether it be in low definition. And ePortfolio can handle all of that except for Flash, but you can set up a hypertext links to a server that deals with Flash. Okay? And so they can bring all of these artifacts they have and construct them into the ePortfolio as literally a multimedia resume. Okay? I did spend some time looking at the literature on creating electronic resumes, and actually I was surprised there's quite a bit out there. Now, the majority of it falls into the what to do and what not to do categories. But there was some good stuff in the education literature that dealt with creating electronic resumes. And so I'll be sharing that with the students as we work through. The one thing that I like about using this this platform as a multimedia resume is it introduces a little bit of a notion of privacy in the very public world. When I go out and I talk to professionals in media, whether they be network executives or corporate executives at any of the major companies, and I say to them, when you get materials from students, what do you want to see? Their first answer is, all I want is a URL. I had one guy, human resources at Beale Corporation, who said, if they give me a resume or a demo tape, it goes in the garbage. What ePortfolio does is it allows for the students to give them that multimedia resume, and by selecting an external viewer, it can be emailed directly, the link can be to that person. So that human resources director can pull up just like that on their computer screen, and they don't have to throw anything away. They can hit delete, but that's another story. And so for me, the other thing too about it is I do worry about our students and their presence on the web with respect towards what they're putting out there. And more students are, certainly we could do this on the web. They could each have their own web page and so forth. But that's public now. And the ePortfolio can be changed depending upon the job. So you can change your presentation if you're applying to do, graphics work versus, on-air talent work. It can change the presentation very, very easily. So for me, that's crucial in this. The big negative that I have to figure out what to deal with is, and we talked about this earlier, at UWSP, my understanding is that their access is gone after 3 months, or is it 6 months? 6 months after they graduate. Maybe it's time to talk to the foundation or the Alumni Association and get some funding to keep that for a longer period of time. But that's something that I'll have to deal with the students. But also knowing that they can export it as a PDF or they can export it as a HTML, hopefully by spring, that will be helpful as well. So this, again, is like everything else we're doing, is a pilot project. And so far, the students just have enjoyed it. I have had no problem. The only problem I had with the students in terms of starting their presentations was figuring out how to give consents, and because it wasn't intuitive. And as I was showing them on the screen, I was lost, and one of my students said, "Oh, it's that little pencil-looking icon thing." And so they were very good at helping me to work through it. But the students have had no problems whatsoever. What surprised me about the faculty not being able to do it, because my students had picked it up, and maybe it's just sort of that Facebook thing, that they do this in their sleep on Facebook, and it's a similar type of process. Yeah, things are different, but it's similar in that. They have no fear. So I'm hoping that this works. So, questions? All right. Oh, one last thing I want to say. I don't know, the group here from UWSP got together several times to talk about this, and that's been pretty cool. Oftentimes we really do get into our silos and we don't get to meet people. And I can tell you that the people from Food and Nutrition know how to party, and Karen buys us beer, so it's wonderful to get together and talk. I shouldn't have said. So, but in all seriousness, the interdisciplinary efforts with this ePortfolio platform have been eye-opening, because people are seeing things from different directions, and that's been cool. So. Okay.